Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to SpurrLIVE Leadership Conversations. Another Wednesday. Again, we are here for another amazing conversation. You know, we always try to bring amazing people on this on this program here. Thank you for joining us. My name is Wendell Lawrence. I'm the CEO of SpurOpen.com. And at SpurOpen.com, we are an agency that helps small businesses, individuals, entrepreneurs, everyone make online collections easy. That's what we're about. Every week we have a conversation with a leader, somebody who we believe is has a particular calling and a mandate on their life, and they're leading a group of people, whether they're church or they're some kind of influencer in our context, and they are making innovative adjustments to their context. Um, during this whole pandemic. This evening is no different. We have with us Reverend Dr. Roy Notice. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Wendell. It is such a joy to be with you on this platform.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much for affording us the time. I know that you're normally engaged at this time, with your duties, so I really appreciate the opportunity to sit and chat with you. How's your day been going? How are things going?
Well, today was a full day.
Yes.
I normally start my day pretty early, like 4 a.m. and
Wow.
yes, do some reading and praying and stuff. Then there was
Mm-hmm.
a Caribbean leaders prayer meeting that I was a part of at 5 o'clock this morning.
Yeah.
Then I
So you
tried
flew
to.
you flew out in the Caribbean. You flew out.
Well, you talk about the innovative ways of connecting with
Yes.
persons, and certainly that was
Yes.
one way of doing that. And then I normally
Right.
do my morning walk, and then after that
Mm-hmm.
I do household stuff like feeding my dogs, and then I go to the office.
I'll
Yes,
follow you. I'll follow you. I'll follow
yeah,
you. So you had a full morning.
yes.
All right. Bishop, you are married. You're married with children.
Yes, I'm married to charming Vinette, very strong, beautiful woman,
Yes.
very smart, and deeply committed to the
Yes.
Lord, deeply committed to her family, loves her church
Mm-hmm.
greatly. And we have been married. This year we will make 26 years next month since we are married.
Awesome.
And we give God thanks. And
Awesome.
God has
Awesome.
blessed us with two daughters, Daniel and Joel.
Congrats on the anniversary when it comes.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Um, and so you have two daughters,
Yes.
married, and you're leading a church.
Mm,
And might I say, quite an influential church in the country, in the wider Caribbean, and in the diaspora, as far as influence goes. How do you, even before COVID, how do you manage to keep focused, to keep doing what you're doing, to be on the cutting edge? You're somebody I believe the way you operate, the way I've seen you operated over years. I've had a few opportunities to interact with you on a couple of occasions, and I've seen you operating on the cutting edge. And from my own perspective and in my own opinion, you are somebody who I believe is consistent. So the question is, how, even before we jump into the COVID discussion, how have you managed to stay consistent with everything that you are tasked with?
First, I mean, thank you for the kind words that you have uttered. I think if there is any kind of consistency, it has to do one with the God of grace, who is at the center of my own life, and two is that I try to surround myself with persons who can help to build my own life, even as I seek to invest in the lives of others. So there are persons in my life who help to keep me accountable, who
Mm-hmm.
who challenge me to live a particular way. There are persons who have high expectations of me, especially my family, and so I have a very clear focus a focus on who God is and what God wants me to do. And I seek as best as I can and as the Spirit enables to lead a life that is based upon God's word. And I try not to live a life that simply tries to impress people or try to create a particular image. So I try to operate in the kind of callings and gifts that God gives to me. And God has opened many doors for me to do that.
Awesome. You mentioned challenge. Break that down for me. So persons who challenge you to live up to a certain expectation. Give me a practical example of how somebody or how would somebody challenge you. You know.
I mean, the challenges come in several ways and from several persons. I mean, I can talk, for example, about some senior persons, and by senior I mean elderly persons who have known me from my youthful days and would continue to speak in my life and would say to me words like, I don't expect, if they see anything negative happening in the lives of other leaders, they would call me and they tell me, I don't expect that from you. I would be totally surprised if I find out that you're going in that direction. If
Wow. Wow.
Whenever I'm given any kind of leadership responsibility, there are persons who will continue to speak to me that these are the expectations. I expect you to move the thing forward. I expect you to do well. So that
I follow you. I follow you.
kind of a challenge.
I follow you. I follow you. I follow you. And that is a major, well, that is a significant part of what keeps you quote unquote in line in terms of with your own standards of yourself.
Yes, indeed, it helps to keep me in line, and I normally say to persons in terms of keeping in line morally. One of the things that challenges me, for example, I normally say to my friends that I picture my name on the front page of the Star saying leading New Testament Church of God pastor in Kingston was found pilfering
Wow.
money or that kind of thing. And every time I think
Wow.
about it and realize that if that happens, I couldn't handle it. So apart from being accountable to God, I, I am very conscious of the
Wow.
number of people that I would let down, and
Yes.
chief among them
Yes.
myself, if I seek to
Yes.
live a particular way.
I see. I see. So with all of that that you are doing your best to keep on top of, here comes COVID. Um we have seen firsthand what I refer to as the evolution of church.
Mm.
Church. Are you seeing me? For some reason, my video is out. You're seeing me clearly, right?
I'm seeing you. I'm seeing you clearly. Yes.
All right. My screen is frozen, but I'll just still go ahead.
Okay.
We have seen the evolution of church. Yeah, or what I refer to as the evolution of church. Church was done a particular way. There's a particular expectation in terms of what a church experience is. And then all of a sudden, that is changed. That is in a sense ripped away from us. What was that like for you personally, even before you as the leader having to carry your church through an adjustment, which I assume you did, but just you as a person, you as the individual, what was that like for you?
Well, I tend to speak about it in maybe less dramatic terms and using less dramatic terms than you do. I mean, it
Yeah.
certainly there. It was a major shift, and
Mm-hmm.
I try to get into solution mode when things
Mm-hmm.
happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of trigger questions in my mind. Okay, so what are we going to do? How do we cope with this? We don't know how long it is going to last. Who are the people who I need to pull near me to ensure that what we need to do
Mm-hmm.
will happen? Who do I need to learn from? What do I need to learn? What do I need to unlearn? So, what do I need
Right,
to
right,
relearn?
right,
So
right.
those are some of the things that came to mind. And the moment we heard, for example, about the lockdown, where the services were limited at first to 20 and then to 10. Immediately we started. We never skipped a beat. Immediately we went online, and thanks be to God, there are persons who are at church who are very responsive. So I think I had to deal with it first mentally to say that this is possible. We just need to shift some stuff. And once I got into that mode, that solution mode, I think it helped in terms of how I communicated with others.
So you didn't freeze. I mean, something like that kind of hit, and you know that you have this expectation to 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 be ahead of the people who are going through this. I mean, some persons freeze. Some persons like literally go to an emotional state of like I'm frozen. You know.
Well, I mean, I'm not the freezing type. I mean, and I'm not even trying to give myself a compliment. I'm just describing that
Yes.
I tend, generally speaking, I tend not to respond to things in a kind of panicky way.
How important is that? How important do you believe that quality is? Because I personally believe that quality and is something that can be self-taught or otherwise taught. But how important is that quality as a leader?
I think it's very useful because I think those looking on, one, yeah, they need to see the real you, the human you, natural responses. And I also feel that persons need to sense that their leaders are not losing control, that things are not overwhelming them to the point that where they are led into a state of confusion and inactivity. So in as much as, even if it frightens a leader and a leader is unsure of what to do, I think that period must be short-lived. If it happens, it needs to be short-lived. We just have to get a grip of ourselves very quickly, and as I said earlier, get into solution mode. Yeah.
What was without giving me details of specifics, but what was described for me as best as you can the first leadership meeting now with your church, having to adjust to the situation? Like, what were some of the things that were going on in the room? Not necessarily not necessarily the emotional things, but like
Yeah.
the solutions. What were some of the ideas that were bounced around and execution plan and so forth?
I thank God for the team of leaders that I serve
Mm-hmm.
alongside at the Walton Park New Testament Church. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a mixed group. It's a group of
Mm-hmm.
persons who, some are seniors, others are younger. Many are very experienced, deeply spiritual. Some also have a good grasp of the technology. Some are very informed about what's going on in terms of government and government guidelines. So I think persons brought all of that to the table. They brought all of that to the table, and we had to make a decision in the course of the week as to what we are going to do the next Sunday. So we had to do that
Right.
at the office with my administrator, admin
Right.
assistant, calling secretary treasurer, calling up some of the
Right. Right.
council members. And I think persons were very responsive. Persons shared ideas, and we tried to we try to create an environment where persons feel comfortable to share ideas, even if sometimes those ideas
Right.
clash with mine. But but persons
Right.
persons
Right.
are willing to give suggestions and give ideas, and
Right.
I think it is
Right.
through those ideas and opinions that we eventually carved out a path that we would take.
Mm-hmm. I follow you. How was church the first Sunday after the lockdown? How was church executed?
We well we well leading up to that, we have several WhatsApp groups. So we sent out
Okay.
messages. We sent out messages in the group that persons should
Right.
join us live on Facebook to begin with. And
Right.
so we had the 20
Well,
persons.
let me just ask you. So So just describe for me, how is your WhatsApp group broken up? Do you have it based on region of the city, based on age group? How is it broken up?
Okay, so we it's based on ministries. So we have a WhatsApp
Okay,
group for we have a WhatsApp group for men, a WhatsApp group for
I
women,
see.
we have a
I
separate
see.
WhatsApp
I
group
see.
for couples, then for
I
one
see.
for teenagers, one for young adults,
Okay.
one for
And
Sunday
sometimes
school
them overlap.
teachers. Yeah, so there's some overlap, you know. And
Right.
then
Okay.
in
Okay.
recent times we have been trying to build out about three big groups now, where the only
Mm-hmm.
people who put information in it would be the leaders, with like two
I see.
persons who would just put general church information, but nobody's able to
Right.
interact
Right.
with
Right.
anything.
Right. 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 Notices, bulletin board, kind of
Absolutely,
vibe.
absolutely, yes,
Right.
yes, yes, yes.
Right. Sorry, I'd interrupt you. You were describing, so the format of church was disseminated through the WhatsApp group.
Right.
Continue with your description of the execution.
So we made those calls, and then a small group of us, we decided now what do we need to make this happen? What do we need
Right.
to
Right.
in terms of to record it and to send it out?
Right. Right. Right.
And
Right.
so
Right.
in the first 2 or so weeks, we had to use some makeshift stuff. Like we never had tripod and those kinds of stuff. So we had to improvise. But
Right. Right. Right.
the first service happened, and we
No,
just
tell me
we
about
just
no, tell me about the improviser. Like you grab some of the phone. Like no, the reason why I asked Pastor is because some churches right now are still improvising.
yes, yes, yes. So
And
we
and and they, and yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go
so for
ahead.
example, when we realized we didn't have a tripod, the first Sunday we did it, somebody actually held the phone, and we kind of run it for most of the service until an idea came where we put it on something and
Catch
kind
it
of
on. Yes,
catch it
yes.
and tie it up on it, and
Wow.
it actually worked, until
Yeah,
we got
and the
tripod and that
audio, the,
kind of thing.
the audio, the audio run through the phone mic.
So eventually we got there. It
I
eventually
see.
so the audio was through straight to the phone to begin with. Eventually we
Right,
connected
right,
it to
right,
the whole PA
right, right,
system, and we get a better
right, right,
sound,
right, right, right,
and then
right,
we
right,
eventually
right.
move into YouTube and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes, yes. Okay, cool. But that happened quickly because, as you said, the team is an agile team. So
very
heads come
agile.
together,
Yeah,
ideas
yeah.
fly, and
Yeah, and I think part of the agility has to do with some teenagers who are there on the AV team. So the
mhm,
AV team was constantly feeding stuff to me to say we need to do
mhm.
this faster. We need to get this. We need to
I
adjust
see,
this. Kind of,
I
and
see.
and of course I'm saying we don't have the money. That's the church lockdown and that kind of thing. So we have to be juggling all of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Trying
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
keep afloat with the significant reduction
Yes.
in financial resources, but also
Mhm,
having to invest in affordable stuff that we can use to make things
mhm.
happen.
Right. Wow, wow. Wow, as you mentioned finances. Well, even before I jump to finances, talk to me about some of the outreach activities that that the church does before the COVID. The nature of how you do outreach. So, for example, some churches do have a feeding program. They have a hospital visit thing, and these activities require an outlay of cash. So this is part of the work that the church is doing apart from Sunday worship. Talk to me about some of those
All
activities.
right, let me mention a few of them. So one,
Mm-hmm.
we have our clinic ministry. Now let me explain what we mean
Mm-hmm.
by clinic ministry. There are several clinics in and around the Waltham Gardens area, and so each day, or at least 3 days for the week, there are persons who actually go there to do devotions and to actually
Mm-hmm.
share with persons. So that's our clinic ministry. We also have an
Mm-hmm.
ongoing prison ministry.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
have a
Similar
we have a
concept.
pardon me,
Similar concept as the
similar
clinic.
concept,
In other words, you have persons who visit the
who
prisons
go
and
right.
minister. Yeah.
We also have a what we call a school devotions ministry, where persons visit schools,
Mm-hmm.
conduct devotional exercises. I mean, one of the initiatives I can tell you about is when we engaged with a team of persons from the Tarrant High School, where
Mm-hmm.
we got word that there are some students who were really a challenge to the Tarrant school family. So we
Mm-hmm.
actually said to them to send us some of your students, and we designed a program where the bus would go
Oh,
and pick up these students from the school,
from
take
home,
them
from school.
from
Okay.
school, yeah, take them down to church.
Right.
We spent 2 hours with them in sessions. We take them to Hope Gardens. So we had that
Wow.
particular program, and we ended it with a weekend at Moorlands Camp with these students. And
Wow. That's
at no
awesome.
cost to them, we
Right.
financed
Right.
all of it, and that was a life changing experience.
Would have
Our
been. Yes.
our then youth pastor did a tremendous job along with support of other team members. So those are some of the stuff
Mm-hmm.
we do. The last one I'll tell you about, which is ongoing, is
Mm-hmm.
our outreach Sunday school, where we
Mm-hmm.
have right now we have 9 different stations where every Sunday evening the church bus will drop off volunteer stations. The locations
Okay. Sorry.
yeah, right. So they would drop off volunteers at these locations where the volunteers would conduct Sunday schools, evening Sunday schools, and would also take
This is in a
refreshment.
public space. This is in a
Sometimes
public
in
space.
people's yards.
Wow.
Sometimes people give us a little room, but community persons, sometimes not even Christians, they allow us to participate in that way. So that has
Aquila and
been very
Priscilla.
rich, and a number of students, children have come. We have
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, last year, the year before, we also, during the summertime, when summer is over, we grant educational grants to some of these students.
Mm.
So we try to engage the community the best way we can. We have a
And
strong
that's good. That
benevolence program also, where we have a bit what we call a benevolence, what's it called now? BBC, Benevolence Bargain Center, where we
mm.
we collect a lot of clothing and different items, and we have it on sale for very reduced. Like you can come and buy a shirt for $100. And so community
So you just
persons,
cover the operational cost, the
so
cost of just
right, and a
right.
wonderful sister from our church actually gave us a building, a shop, which is across from the church, where we use it. So it's all stacked out, and those who have been a part of the Waltham family and are living in the diaspora, they send barrels of stuff, and so we are able on one
Wow.
level. Sometimes we distribute during like back to
Yes.
school. We distribute to
Yes.
our church family, bags and books
Yes.
and stuff. But
Yes.
right throughout the year, once a month, one weekend each month, the shop is open
Mm-hmm.
and persons come
Mm-hmm.
and pick up lots of stuff. We give God thanks for that because a tremendous
That's
opportunity to touch,
awesome.
to touch lives. Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I would then summarize based on what you have said that you have taken, and you with the church family and the whole team that is involved have taken the mandate beyond just the delivery of the word, but in addition to that, in also the practical ways that you actually touch persons lives so that they can see the playing how the word plays out
Yes,
um
indeed,
in
indeed.
their lives.
It's good news. Jesus called it good news and good deeds. So
I
it's a coming together of those two.
I see. I
Mhm,
see. No, so with COVID now,
mhm.
tell me in a summary the way how has your ability to do some of these things been impacted, and what are the ways, the ingenious ways that you are using now to say no, we still have to do like we still have to do this still have to get done. What were the non-negotiable items of those deeds that we said no matter what we have to find a way to visit the prison, to whatever, how do you actually execute it amid the
Right.
COVID challenges?
But some of our outreach activities have been significantly curtailed because of the
Mm-hmm.
social distancing measures that have been
Mm-hmm.
put in place. So some of
Mm-hmm.
our some of our visits, for example, especially to elderly and stuff, have been curtailed. But what the mode that we moved into now is to create care packages where we would, for example, take to our shut-ins and we will drop off, and even to all our outstation Sunday school or on Sunday school locations. We just 2 weeks ago we created over 100 packages for our students where we take
When
it
you
to
say
them,
create packages, what do you mean?
put together food stuff
Okay.
and care items.
So like a package would have like some tin mackerel, this, that,
Yeah
that,
man, yeah
and
man,
a
yeah
few
man,
pieces of clothing and packaged
yeah man.
neatly and
It
okay.
looks like you have done this before. You
No, no, I'm just trying to get I'm trying to get the picture as you talk because I want to be very specific in terms of what is it that we're describing
No,
that is
yes,
being done.
you're spot on. You're spot on. So we try to do that, and we also, it's a challenge where we invite some of these persons to come online in terms of to
Hmm.
join us in our conversations. That's a little difficult because of
That is
the,
because I was gonna come to that because I
yeah,
need to
that's a
find out
little
how you
difficult.
actually do that.
Yeah, but because of the, sometimes we take the issue of Wi-Fi for granted. That
Hmm.
every home has Wi-Fi, but but it's not, they don't, and a lot of persons
That is
have
one
to
of
be
my
using.
questions here. How do you actually reach the non-techie persons?
So that has been a challenge. But what we have done, we have like pulled the membership list, and we have tried to look through all our WhatsApp groups to see who is there and who is not there. And then we have divided the list
I
now
see.
among our church leadership to say, all right, so you
I
take these
see.
20 names and call them,
I see.
especially older people,
I see.
call them
I
at least
see.
once a week, check up on them, see what is
I see.
happening. And that has helped. That has helped. There are one or two people who sometimes fall through the cracks. Like I
Yes.
got a link the other day from someone who says there's this elderly lady who says we haven't touched base with her. And the thing is that we are
Wow.
calling her number, but her phone was not working. So immediately when we heard
Wow.
that, we put a packet together. One of our deacons went to her house and visited with
Hmm.
her. And she was so blessed.
Hmm.
If I can jump the gun a bit, Wendell, and
Sure.
and just
Sure.
and just
Sure.
tell you the rest of that story. That when our deacon visited this elderly person, and she was so
Hmm.
so overjoyed, that yes, her church has not forgotten her, kind of thing. And then when he was about to leave after praying with her, she said, hold on, and she carried out a pile of envelopes to say that every week she had put her offering and her tithes in there. I mean, this is a person who live off pension and is a struggling person. So that
Wow.
humbled me deeply. Like
Yes.
God's people
Yes.
are
Yes.
so faithful and love
Yes.
God and
Yes.
love their church so much that
Yes.
boy, she had her offerings. It's just an
Hmm.
amazing sign of faithfulness.
Yes. 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 And you are there carrying a care package to her, and
And
she's
and
saying,
she's
"Hold on,
giving,
hold on.
yes, yes. No, that
Let
was
me
just
give
an
you something."
overwhelming moment. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I can just imagine. I can just
Mm.
imagine. Do you still get to do your clinic ministries, your prison ministry?
No,
You
no.
still get to do those.
Most of those activities have had to be on
Hmm.
hold, on hold for now.
Hmm.
And so the talk now is how do we resume when the opportunity comes for us to
Yes,
resume? Because even when you go to the clinic now, it's the rules are different and the
yes,
arrangement is
yes, yes,
different. So little
yes,
pretty awkward to do some of the stuff that we would normally.
yes. Yeah, 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 yeah. I can just imagine. Um, do you find that? Do you find that you be able to finance some of the activities, the income flow for your church has been significantly affected because persons are not able to come, especially during the weeks when we're down to 20, 10 persons. Do you find that persons were still eager to say, let me come by the church, or let me get it to your bank account, let me do whatever I need to do to get, as you said, there's one particular lady who was putting it down and she makes sure say before you leave out, come, hold on, please here. How do you find the and I don't want to use the word faithfulness, but how do you find persons overcoming the challenge of being able to give during that time?
Yeah, and you describe it right. It was a challenge, especially for the first few weeks, as persons
Mm-hmm.
start to adjust. Not being at church, how do they
Mm-hmm.
get their gifts to the church? And so
Mm-hmm.
we advertised our account in terms of online banking. So
Mm-hmm.
our online contributors increased significantly,
Right,
like
right, right,
maybe
right.
like over 400%, because it was
Wow.
very low. It was extremely low.
Yeah, yeah, because there is no need for it. There is no need
There
for
was
it.
exactly so
Yeah, 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 yeah.
that started working, and then
Yes.
there were a number of persons, and this also touched me significantly. There were a number of
Mm-hmm.
persons I would be at the church office, and just go outside, and I would see people, "Hi pastor, how you doing?" And I say, "Hey, how you doing? What you doing here?" "Oh, I just come to drop off my tithes and offering." And I would see that
Wow.
being repeated,
Yes.
where we
Yes.
set up a box that's pretty secure, and persons would just
Mm-hmm.
come and drop off their gifts
Mm-hmm.
to the church. And
Awesome.
persons also came along with tithes and offering. They would also come and carry stuff, and would say, "Pastor, just in case anybody needed anything, just a bag of rice." I mean, I remember a lady came with a van and just gave us some stuff and said, make sure we help somebody. So that has been good.
Yes. Nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So I'm gonna ask a question now that might be a little tricky, or may require you to go deep. I don't
I
know.
appreciate the warning. I don't know if it will help me, but
All right. So there are persons who have a particular experience or the way how they are used to their worship experience, especially from giving two aspects: giving and also fellowship. For a lot of persons, you'll go to some churches, and when it's offering time, please stand and raise your offering and hold it. So they attribute the act of giving with more than just the deposit or the movement of cash,
right,
but it's
right,
the blessing that comes with it. You get a prayer over it, you get a laying on of hands. Some churches have the funds being deposited at the feet of the person that they hail as their leader. Um, and some persons want a prayer before they come up. But even separate than offering, even the whole concept of prayer for the sick, prayer for me to pass my exam. There are persons who attribute a lot of weight to the physical laying on of hands
yes,
during those moments. And you can break up the answer, from the perspective of finance and otherwise, or combine it. But how do we know as a church body, you as a church leader, we as a church body, as I said before, adjust to that or meet that kind of need that exists in persons when we have in our services online?
yeah. So I must acknowledge first of all that the need exists, and that
Mm-hmm.
there is great value in
Mm-hmm.
physical physical presence and
Mm-hmm.
contact. And I
Mm-hmm.
think I have come to appreciate it more when it was missing. The the kind of shake hand, for example,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
hugging people. There's a thing that we do when we're going to receive the offering at church. The entire congregation stands and we say our giving pledge. We
Mm.
we we give to the Lord as an act of worship and thanksgiving. We give because God has given to us. So that aspect of it is not there in the way that we used to have it. So persons grapple with that. There's even
Mm-hmm.
today in one of our leadership WhatsApp groups, we're having a conversation about restarting. When do we restart fasting, the fasting service at church,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
the prayer meetings? Because even though
Mm-hmm.
we host prayer meetings online and stuff, the person
Mm-hmm.
was making the point that there are many persons who want to be in a physical space where people can
Mm-hmm.
see them as they raise their hands for the prayer request. People can people can actually walk down to an altar for prayer. So we are grappling we're grappling with that. We
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you, Wendell, that we have the answer for it, but
Mm-hmm.
certainly we continue to offer this online, And now that the some of the regulations have been slightly lifted, that has helped. I can see the joy in people's faces just to
Yes,
see
yes,
them in the sanctuary where they have not been for months.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah. One of the one of the things in a discussion I had with another leader, one of the questions I asked, which is similar issue or similar concern, is but it's more from the reverse side. No, the conversation had gone to the place where we were talking about the fact that now that church is online, we are forced to be pointed in communicating the gospel and communicating the gospel without fluff and without a lot of the nuances. So, for example, when a young lady comes into the church and she's not dressed appropriately, in the majority's opinion, um, in the because there's a physical space where somebody can actually come to cause that concern to arise. Online, there that don't exist.
Mhm.
So what you have is the reverse, where there are persons who now feel there are persons who feel free to sit down and focus and zoom in on what is coming in. Zoom, no pun intended, but what is
Mhm.
coming in coming in from the word that is being spoken without a lot of the fluff. How would you comment on that in terms of there are a lot of nuances that happen, positive and negative, when persons gather, and some of them we just spoke about, um, but some of them affect some persons negatively. How would you comment on that whole
Sure.
situation? We're just the word. If there's a funeral, you send it in a WhatsApp group. If there's a graduation, you send that. But online, how would you comment on that?
I feel that the increased online engagements have
Mhm.
opened up an opportunity for more
Mhm.
households to engage in worship and
Ah.
to hear the church and to participate without
Mhm.
feeling pressured. So
Mhm.
we give God
Mhm. Mhm.
thanks. We give God thanks for that. That a husband or a father doesn't have to be saying to the child, "Get dressed now. We're gonna leave the house," kind of thing. But right in the
Mhm.
living room,
Mhm.
right around the breakfast table, the church is
Mhm.
right there, right in the midst of you.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that has its benefits. And I think when we do church that way, we now have to be very conscious that the church is way more than those who are in front of us. That there are many other persons who are listening. Some of them who don't go to church, meaning don't come to
Yes.
the
Yes.
building, but they now
Mhm.
are hearing the voice of the church and the message of the
Mhm.
church. And so we have
Mhm.
to ensure that the message that we share is in keeping with the tone and spirit of scripture, and also with
Mhm.
the truth of scripture.
Right.
So we
Right.
have to ensure
Right.
that as we
Right.
communicate scripture using all the communication techniques that we have,
Mhm.
depending on the
Mhm.
spirit, but never abandoning truth.
Right. Yes, I agree. I agree with you 100%. And because on my phone, when you're in my social media feed, you had better not talk any nonsense,
Yeah,
because I am going to simply quick and go to Wikipedia. I'm going to go to a Muslim book.
absolutely.
I'm going to go to a core. I have it right there, and I can pause you and come back and pick up with what you say and scrutinize it. So I think we have an opportunity. When the church was persecuted um, years ago, and as a result, it spread.
Yes,
So it might seem that we're shut down, but we are really just compressed to be expanded in other ways. There are many church leaders out here who share of the fact that who share the fact that they can now reach thousands more than they were able to reach in
absolutely.
their. How do you find that? Is that happening in your church?
Yes, I think we are connecting. with many more persons than who would, more than what would normally come into the physical space. And one of the things that we are learning now to do is to try to dissect the figures and to interpret the
Right, right,
statistics when we
right,
see
right, right, yes,
when
yes,
we see it in social media, as
right,
to what does a like mean,
right.
versus when it says 3,000 people reached versus
Mm-hmm,
6,000 views. So we're
mm-hmm,
trying to wrap our heads around that, and to say
mm-hmm.
what it means. I mean, at first, my formula was any number you see divided by 10. So that was my first approach. So it's a
Yeah.
very conservative approach.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah,
But
yeah,
we are
yeah, yeah.
now getting better help in terms of how to interpret the figures.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so we're almost out of time. I want you to share, Bishop, on on your process for decision making, from the perspective of in this COVID time and probably generally as well. Have you been faced with a decision that you need to make about the direction that you believe, or you're being inspired to take your congregation, the flock that you lead, but the decision or the direction is a very unpopular direction, but there's a conviction in you that believes that yes, this is the way we should go. What is your process in making that decision, and in getting your team to go with you? How do you approach things like that, and what kind of advice would you give leaders who have that kind of challenge that they are dealing with regularly?
Yeah. So I think team leadership is good. In fact, it's the best kind of platform when you have to
Mm-hmm,
be making decisions, especially tough decisions. So I
mm-hmm,
see myself as a team leader, and each person on the team has a voice. And a part of what
mm-hmm.
I do as team leader is to help to build trust. That trying to be consistent, to be open, to listen. And I think that idea of hearing people and hearing opinions, and not making decisions based on the personalities who say or share their
Right.
opinions, but on the
Principle over
value
preference.
of the opinion. Yeah. So I think that the idea of listening has certainly helped in the decision making process, and just allowing everybody to have a voice. Now, if the decision that I want to take is unpopular, one of the things I need to be sure about is that everybody understands what the decision is and why we are taking it. So that even if you don't agree, you can
Mm-hmm.
say, Pastor is pushing us to to close church on a Wednesday because of the 5 reasons that he gave. And
I
so
see.
and so to be
I
able to
see.
share, to make it very clear as to why you're
Mm-hmm.
doing what you're doing. And it is not so much about opposing the individual, and also
Mm-hmm.
not to take things personally. When somebody tells me, Pastor, that cannot work, I don't take it, I don't receive it to mean, Pastor, you're talking foolishness. Or I don't take it personally. I try to deal with
I
that,
see.
the fact that they are responding to an idea. And so, as I
But
said,
that takes a lot of maturity, though. That takes a lot of
well,
how do you reach to that place? Like how does one reach to that place?
maybe
How does a young leader reach to that place?
by the many I've reached here by the many mistakes that I have made in the
Mm.
past, where you used to believe that you're fresh out of college, university, you study, so you know it. You know what the best decisions are.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the best moves
Mm-hmm.
are.
Mm-hmm.
And there I've had experiences with elders who have taught me in many ways that you need to learn to listen. And I think that's such a big thing, to listen and to give due regard to each person, to value. You see, when you value people, decision making becomes a little easier because persons know that you give them ratings. It is when
Mm-hmm.
people
Mm-hmm.
in a group are fighting to have a voice that increases the conflict and the friction, because
Ah.
persons feel they are not being heard, Nobody not listening to them. Is just a pastor alone and two or three people that are making the decision. I try as best as possible. I don't say that I have it perfect, but I try as best as possible to kind of have an open door to hear people, to reason things out, to pray about matters, and then to take the risk of deciding and to know that some of your decisions will not be the right ones. And my prayer always is that my wrong decisions will be few, far between, and will not have lasting impact.
You know that not all your decisions will be the right ones.
Of course, I know that. I mean, I'm just a pastor from country trying to serve God. So I don't know. I can't. I'm not going to get it right. I'm not going to get it right. So as a pastor, I have to learn to say, "Well, I got that wrong. I'm
Even the
sorry."
ones you even the decisions you're going to make, you know that some of them are going to be the wrong decision.
No. There. So one, I know that I will not get it right all the time. So I
Mm-hmm.
know that. And I know that even sometimes when I feel that a decision is right,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it is going through the experience that you realize that you have been wrong, and what John was saying was the correct thing that you should have done.
Wow.
And you
Wow.
just have to just back off and say, boy, no, I
And
made
sometimes
I
you have to go
missed
back to
I
John and say,
yeah, I messed that up, me should have it follow me, church, me should have follow and just move on. Yeah, as a leader, you can't take yourself too serious and believe in your own
mm-hmm,
hype and feel that you're
mm-hmm,
you're
mm-hmm,
you're you're,
mm-hmm.
you're Lord and God. I mean, I feel I'm a leader. God has anointed me. God has placed me to lead His people. I have to make tough decisions, but I also know that my leadership calling has not reduced my humanity.
Mm, man, that's so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's been real. Boy, I didn't even get no time. This conversation I didn't even get no time to acknowledge Andrea McCurdy, Kellyanne Fagan, all these persons, Alison Dexter who are on, Nadine Blair, all these persons who are on. Big up on yourselves. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Um,
But some of the names,
Andrea,
some of the names that you have called are very, very close friends of mine, people who have impacted my
yes,
life in significant ways and
yes,
whose friendships I value. Yes.
yes. I know. I can just imagine. Some of them are mothers to me.
Yeah. I don't want you to date us, I don't want you to.
No, well, Bishop. It's been amazing. I really thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. As I'm about to wrap up, I want you to quickly give a word of encouragement. So I know you're a part of the New Testament Church of God, and there are a lot of you are influential figure there, and there are a lot of pastors who look to you for guidance. So give a word of encouragement to those pastors, those who may not even be looking to you for guidance, but those who will actually hear what you're saying, as well as those who are maybe of other denominations. Just as leaders in the body of Christ, what would you encourage in this time to those leaders?
Well, the first thing I would say is that for leaders, we should always discern the season that we are in. Because if we misunderstand the season, if we don't understand the times, then certainly we
Mm-hmm,
will give answers to questions that people are not asking. So I think it's important for
mm-hmm,
us to understand the season and the times that we are in. It's also important for us to ask God to grant unto us discernment and wisdom to know how to conduct ourselves in each season and how to navigate the space.
mm-hmm,
I think that especially in
mm-hmm,
seasons of challenge, I think we should never approach ministry standing on a platform of panic, but we should always stand on a platform of faith and the confidence, knowing
confidence.
that God is in control. No, nobody has ejected God from His throne. So when the foundations are shaking, what do the righteous do according to the Psalms? We don't flee and run to the hills. We simply look to the throne of God, knowing that God is in control.
Yes.
And we also must ensure that we draw on the human resources around us, people. I think we cannot lead without people. Leading is not a lone ranger journey. If it's you alone out there, one writer says you're taking a walk in the park, nobody's with you.
Yes. Yes.
But
Yes.
but leading is certainly a team effort that we are willing to listen to others, learn from others, be corrected by others, and I think with all of that, we can certainly continue to make an impact in our times. I say to people, one thing that can help us in every season, as a leader, don't try to be great. Yeah, don't make an effort to be great. Just connect with a great God and just say, God, anything you want to do through me, I'm willing, I'm available. I think the biggest thing is to be available and to trust God.
Mhm.
And if we're available to a great God and trust a great God and love the people of God, chances are God may allow us to do great things for his name. Mm.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Bishop, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank
It's
you for
a
the
real
opportunity.
yes, it's a real privilege. Thank you for giving us the time and sharing with us. Guys, Maureen Hamilton is saying it's an amazing interview. I see my one and only sister here. Pick up yourself. Connect with a great God and avail yourself. That's Kelly and Fagan. Thank you
Mm.
guys so much for listening. Thank you, Bishop, again for coming with us. Guys, next week, not next week, this Friday, I'll be having a conversation, a special version of SpurrLIVE. It's not a leadership conversation or not in the sense of, what we have called leadership conversation. We'll be talking to a young man who has been doing some charity work
Mm.
for his birthday. On his
Wow.
birthday, his
Mm.
birthday is the 14th of June, and he started on June 1 and called it 14 Days of Giving.
Wow.
And he's inviting persons to help him to feed families and to reach out to
Awesome.
persons, and it's something he
Awesome.
has been doing. And our organization reached out to him, having seen his post, and it kind of resonated with us, and we said, let's see how we can partner to help. Um and and so we'll be having a conversation with him on Friday. That's supposed to be at 8 p.m. on Friday, so guys, look out for that.
Looking forward to
Thank you
hearing
again.
you. Yes.
Yes,
Mm.
yes, Jonathan Fletcher is his name, so you can listen
Awesome.
out for that
Yes.
on
Yes.
Friday. Guys, thank you so much. Bishop, again, love. Thank you so much.
One love, my
This has
brother.
been
Bless you.
another episode, yes, of SpurrLIVE Leadership Conversation. Guys, have a wonderful night. Love.
Bless you.